Yeah, this is awkward. Did you get a notification?
I did not.
Oh,
There
I
we
see
go.
myself.
All
okay.
right.
We're good. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Mountain Outpost Pod number 12. And I got to find the theme song. Oh, no. I'm not ready for this. Go. I'm one of your hosts. Wait. We got to get it. Oh, my God. This is embarrassing. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. That's the one thing I didn't realize that I didn't have ready.
We are clearly still very sleep deprived from this weekend.
That's an understatement.
It's right.
I know I've got it.
This is where we have that like title screen for you all. So instead, I'm just going to do a little bit of this action.
Run steep, get high. Run flat, stay low. Run mountain, run the road. Run past each stand to the commode. Oh, run steep, get high. Run flat, stay low. One stream, two guys. Mountain Outpost.
You muted yourself. One job. Oh, all right. Well, for those of you who are still online, which is not Jam, that guy over there, or on this side of the screen, I'm your other host, Skizzle Fresh, Schuyler Hall. Jamil is currently in Tennessee. You are back. Yes.
Okay, great. Don't do that. Don't switch your tabs. We're good. Technical difficulties.
That's Jam. I'm Skizzle Fresh. He's in Tennessee. We're working through a lot of technical glitches, which has also been the story of our entire weekend for those of you guys who are watching the Black Canyon 100K. So appreciate you guys hanging in there with the slightly late start. But we're here. We're excited. Jam, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm extremely tired. Had a huge layover in Dallas. There was snow everywhere. They couldn't push the plane out. The little tug couldn't make it happen, so they had to get a bigger tug. So I think 7 hours there, and then got here and did a 7.5 hour day out in Frozen Head today, and my feet were varying shades of purple when I got off the mountain, thanks to the frigid conditions. So it was probably in the single digits up high, 22 degrees at the finish in the late afternoon, down back at the car. So snowing, snow everywhere, trails are frozen. It's a good time.
So finally, Frozen Head earning its name. No, the conditions across like the entire middle part of America are insane. I saw a meme that was like, this is what a Hot Pocket looks like or tastes like when you take it out of the microwave, and it was just like the warmth on the coast and then just like completely frozen in the middle. So if folks are joining us from anywhere that's like completely frozen, if you somehow just got your power restored and are joining us from the state of Texas, especially, congratulations. We appreciate you being with us. Yeah, my parents and my aunt and everybody have just been without power for 2 days in Fort Worth. It's like 45 degrees inside the house. It's single digits outside. So it's insane right now. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. Damn.
Yeah, it's all good. You're in Frozen Head. So this is officially Barkley bootcamp. Is that what we're calling it?
Wait, or is this the race? What's happening? No, it's not the race. Or is it? I came out. I wanted to, do another Barkley bootcamp, so to speak. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. Come out to the park. We can only run on the established trails in the park, and the cheap roads and stuff. So anything that's, they say, like red on the map, like a real true trail that's on the Frozen Head State Park map. So kind of run around. You can see where the kind of the exit points are for the course that go on to cross country sections. So you can kind of familiarize yourself with where those are. And in case you overshoot it, you can kind of get the lay of the land. That's what I like to do. Get reoriented with the trails and the course. And, you know, sometimes it helps too, just to know, okay, I know that this climb is, you know, coming to an end because I know this section well now. Just kind of rehearsing and then getting out in some of this nasty weather, I think, is important. We don't get a lot of that in Phoenix, of course. So coming out here, got my fair share today. And I think all week it's looking a little dicey. So I think it's supposed to be another big storm. I think tomorrow night into Thursday morning, I think they're calling for several inches of snow, like here, where down on the lowest parts. So there could be significant snow up high on the mountains. So we'll see what that does to the day. My feet weren't too happy with today. You know, there was a lot of unavoidable water crossings and like even ones I didn't really, it was like kind of everything was kind of just covered in snow. So you can't really tell. And then you break through some ice into a puddle and it's like, well, my shoes are just, I'm going to post some photos on Instagram later of my shoes at the end of the day. And they just have this like caked on ice that looks like it was like on an 18-wheeler, like on the mud flaps. It's all dirty. And yeah, it was quite the adventure today. And I got 4 more days to maximize the hurt and hopefully come away from this week with huge amount of miles, huge amount of vert. I did 26.2 today, actually, like a full marathon with 9,200 feet of climb.
Not nice.
Yeah. No, I was pretty stoked on that. I'm like, heck yeah, 9,200. And then I was very, very tired right before this. I was laying down, catching up on some other work. And it's like, what time is it? Schuyler, help me. My laptop says one time. I don't even know what real time it is here. It finally switched over. But anyways, that's the story. And you, yes, sir, how are you doing? You made it home safe, I see.
I did make it home safe. Yeah. Not for lack of trying. But no, we got here in one piece. Had a good end of the weekend in Phoenix after our broadcast for Black Canyon on Saturday. And we got to hang out for a quick second on Sunday at the pool, which was nice and relaxing because as soon as I got here, it was raining and I was like, sweet. And I literally
were back by that pool.
Absolutely. Because within an hour of landing, I had to be at the large federally supported vaccination site that we're standing up here in the Bay Area. So it literally was like drop bag, put on dress shirt, get in car and go. And I was like right back to the grind. So it was nice to be able to decompress ever so slightly over the weekend. But yeah, we're in the full on sprint now. We got a lot of work being done in the public health world and a lot of meetings with all sorts of different folks, community-based organizations, community stakeholders, elected officials, just trying to make sure that, we're all moving the ball forward and making sure that we're taking care of our community as we try to get to the end, or at least phase 2, the vaccine rollout, and then the return to normalcy, whatever that looks like moving forward.
Cool.
But I'm tired as hell.
What's that? I was going to tweet out the link.
But I'm tired as hell too.
Yeah, tired times. So you were able to
do some promotion on your side.
You were able to get the vaccine. Was that part of your role or?
Yeah. So we, as a part of, one, like for the county that we're in, I'm in the qualifying phase, sort of like emergency response. I also technically check the box twice because I'm also because I coach in a educational setting, so educators and childcare come back into play because our season could start literally any day now. Like I'm just going to get an email that's like and go, and so that's so I was up, but then we were also working on the soft launch, just operationally making sure that we have everything in place because once you start trying to put through several thousand cars, you want to make sure that goes smoothly. even though even though we anticipate waits and, everybody needs appointments and whatnot, we still want to be a pretty solid customer service experience. So we had to test it, and I was lucky enough to be one of the people who got to go through and make sure we were good to go. So I am a little sore today. I did some push-ups. I've been trying to move around all day, but that's all I've had is just some soreness. Got the Pfizer vaccine, so in 3 weeks' time, I'll go back and get the booster, and then, I'll still be wearing my masks and doing what I got to do to make sure that everybody else is, safe and secured, and we're moving through this together. But I'm excited after, literally like a year and a week to the day since my first experience with someone who ended up being COVID positive, sort of like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for my particular health journey through the event is, it's nice. Like it's obviously like my focus is on the community and like making sure that, especially our underserved communities, the tribal communities that I work with during my Blue Sky work, making sure that they're all taken care of, but at least it does give me a little sense of calming of the anxiety, and there were definitely parts of last year where like I lost myself and my health in the whole thing, like trying to be focused on the community writ large. So, so at least I can breathe a slight sigh of relief and be like, okay, like I can still focus on that, knowing that I have to at least some degree taken the steps to protect myself.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's cool. So get the vaccine. I mean, that's the moral of the story. Go. Just do it. You're
get
gonna
it
be
when
good.
Get it when you can.
Get it when you can. Cool. How do we want to play today? Because I know that we're clearly going to have to talk about Black Canyon, not only the race that was, but all of the behind the scenes, because I can say, at least me, and I'm sure this has been true for you as well, gotten a lot of love for the work that went into that live stream. So I think we should delve into a bit of the mechanics of it, the behind the scenes, and just like what it was like for us in the studio and everything.
We're already getting a lot of people in the chat just thanking us for the coverage, saying that it was another level. Lots of awesome positive comments. So that's great to hear. But I think maybe we just start with that and go with it as long as we can. I think that's what people probably want to hear tonight. So I'm down with it.
Cool. So let's just hop into it and we'll deal with news and the rest of the world after the fact. So high level, golden ticket race, Black Canyon 100K, sponsored by Hoka. It was the second golden ticket stop on this year's journey to Western States. Anyone who towed the line had a chance to snag their golden ticket if they were top two in the 100K, top two time overall. It was based on chip time. So there was a bit where we were watching waves 3 and 4. I had some folks who were starting out quick off the line to see if they were going to shake things up and snipe in. But at the end of the day, all of our golden ticket winners, and basically most everyone in our top 15 or 20 actually came from that the first women's wave and the first men's wave. So on the women's side, we had Brittany Peterson set a new course record, 8:48.32, shaving about 4 minutes or so off of Elsa McDonald's course record from 2018. We had Lisa Roberts, the former iron distance pro triathlete, come in second place, 9:13 and change. Behind her was Sarah Kais, 9:18.06. And so those two ladies secured their golden tickets to Western States because Brittany Peterson had already secured her registration as a result of her runner-up finish back in 2019. In fourth place, we had Mariah Vargas, improving on her 7th place finish in 2020, came in fourth here, 9:36.20 when all was said and done. Fifth place was Addie Bracey, a little bit of a fade there in the back half, but still a very strong showing for someone we're going to see at Western States because she is already in by virtue of her 9th place finish there back in 2019. So very competitive, very entertaining on the women's side. Not as deep in terms of density from first to like 10th as 2020, but it was damn interesting to watch because it was definitely going back and forth there in that top 5 for really all the way to the finish line. So that was awesome. On the men's side, winner was Tyler Green, and just a picturesque pacing job, which ended up being the theme on the men's side. He wins 8:06:33, third fastest time overall. You had Eric Sensman rose from the dead, literally was on the ground, like writhing with an adductor cramp at Table Mesa at mile 51, and like chugs like pickle juice or something, maybe a beer. Still, jury's out on whether or not. You can go back and watch the feed and figure out what he was given there. But then he shows up, stands up, and runs his way into second place after finishing third twice at this event. Finally cracks the top 2, 8:10:54. So those two gentlemen secured their tickets to Western States. In third place was your brother, Nick Coury, who might have had the most even-paced, just like sleeper, stealth bomber, like run of the day.
That's so typical.
He finished at 8. Which it really is. So he runs 8:16:23. So first to third were separated by less than 10 minutes at the end of the day, but he was more than 20 minutes back at mile 24, and he just like cruises in and damn
and
near
if the race
snags,
was a little bit longer,
ticket.
I mean,
yeah. It was batty. It was definitely like literally when he came into Table Mesa, we were both like, he's moved up that far already. And then for him to move up yet one more spot and actually close the gap on the top 2 just shows how strong he was in the later stages of the race. So he takes third. Tyler Fox takes fourth in 8:34:49. So this is a very strong performance from him. Very consistent. Was basically in that top 6 the entire day. Fifth place was Dan. We never actually found out how to pronounce his name. I always said Dan Domres. Could be Dan Domers. I don't know. But the man put on a clinic. Danny D in the murdered out black outfit that day. 8:36:28. So big performance for him, and apparently a big chat favorite during the day. In sixth place was Mark Batris. Big OCR cat, runs a lot of like Spartan, like super Spartan distance races. So his race distance is normally like 2 hours, and he quadruples it, runs 8:36:37. So he was just like what's that? 9 seconds out of the top 5, and he was
in the third wave.
The third wave, exactly.
So he was a half hour behind the lead pack, the lead men.
Exactly, on course. Yeah. So he started. All the lead men started at 7. He started at 7:30 local time, and was just 9 seconds out of the top 5. So kudos to him as our top finisher from a non-elite wave, and he really showed up. And then the storyline that everyone was talking about, just behind that, I want to make sure that I scope the time gap correctly. So right behind him in 7th place with what was the most baller kick I have ever seen at the end of an ultra, bar none. It was uphill over the most like rocky section of the entire 62 miles. You just see Justin Grunwald just charging from a distance. And I went back and looked at the live feed, and I encourage everyone to watch that like 2.5 minutes where the aerial is on Ben Koss, who ends up taking 8th. And like as it spirals around, and the way that the room was set up where we were in the studio, it was too far for me to see, but like you can just see this red jersey in the distance.
I didn't rewind that. I didn't rewind that far. I need to do that.
And then it comes around again, and then just like sits in the back. And then that's when you see Justin like slide into frame, and you're just like, yo, he was straight up like the gap that he closed in that last must have been like 600 meters is insane. And then to actually have it go to a full kick down uphill towards the gate. So Justin Grunwald ends up beating Ben Koss, buddy, San Francisco love. by 1 second at the finish line, but it was riveting. It was the most epic 7th place finish I think I've ever seen in my life. So shout out to him for
awesome.
putting it together.
Definitely a highlight for me for sure.
I tried to get like Flow Track and ESPN to cover that, just like kick of the week, but no love from them. But I think everybody in the ultra community heard about that, has seen it multiple times. I've seen it like cropped out on Instagram stories. It was nuts. So that's how the race played out in the 100K on Saturday. There was also a 60K on Sunday, which we'd be remiss to not talk about. So we had just real quick on the men's side, you had Aubrey Meyer, I think is how you say it, 4:17.42 for the win on the guys' side, followed by Charlie Ware, Aerovipa team member, 4:26.59, and Will Baldwin was in third, 4:36 and change. On the women's side, you had Rachel Drake, because apparently the 12 miles of pacing Tyler Green to the finish weren't enough for her. So she comes back, runs the 60K, wins it 5 hours flat, 30 seconds. You had Leah. I'm going to butcher this last name, so I'm going to pre-apologize for that. I'm just going to say Yingling. I think we're going to go with it. She finished second in 5:08.56. And then third was Corinne Chalvoy, 5:09.30. So very, very strong top three on the women's side as well. 35 seconds separating second and third place in that 60K. So real strong on the 60K on Sunday as well. And then obviously we got to shout out Coury Woltering, the Black Canyon 100-mile champion, ran the 100K on Saturday, comes back, runs the 60K on Sunday, all in preparation for his future attempt at the FKT for the Arizona Trail, I believe. So big training weekend for him, and he comes out and crushes it as the true champion that he is. So that's the race on both Saturday and Sunday. If you missed anything from the 100K, we literally were on the screen for like 11 hours.
You can also go rewatch
you can
it.
just watch that.
It's on the Aerovipa running YouTube channel. Go check it out, and please go subscribe. I think we are a couple of subscribers away from 10,000 subscribers there, so check it out. Make sure you're subbed up.
Let's get it done. And we also made a lot of money for the Black Canyon Trail Coalition, which, you'll see this reference, or if you were in the chat, you heard us reference this often. But we were collecting donations through the super chat function for the Black Canyon Trail Coalition. They're the group that helps maintain and build upon the existing trail that this race series takes place on. And, it was nice. It was nice to give back to them. Did we get a final total roughly?
Well, YouTube, sometimes YouTube has like a delay. So like when it was first over, I couldn't even find it. And then I just screenshotted it. I think, was it today or yesterday?
Might have been this morning.
Yeah, it might have been this morning. It was over $1,000 between like the super chat and the super stickers. So
nice.
Over 1,000 so far. We'll see if it raises up. Maybe they have another day delay and there might be a few more dollars roll in. So but yeah, besides that, I think we are going to do some more things with the Black Canyon Trail Coalition in the future to raise money for the trail as well. And we always make a donation out of the race entry fees as well each year. So we throw some money that way as well. So because one day we might have a true Black Canyon 100 miler, like a real point-to-point one. Just gonna tease that.
Yeah, that's the dream. And obviously, if you're watching this and you got hyped off the event, or you just like supporting the great outdoors, you can support the Black Canyon Trail Coalition directly off their website. Drop them a note, and I'm sure they would gladly appreciate it. So let's talk behind the scenes. Because I feel like that's the nitty gritty that folks want to sort of get a concept of. And this is all your vision. Like, obviously, we've been teasing it on the pod for quite some time, but you had a very specific concept of like what you wanted this to look like.
Sure.
So what was the genesis of this baby of yours in your head, and like how did that morph over time to what we ended up seeing and being a part of on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing some live streams, so we've done Desert Solstice a few times. That's of course just on one site, right there. And this year I did do it. I did commentate remote, so that gave us a little bit of a new element to it. And then the vision for this one, as soon as we got word that there was going to be no crew allowed in Yavapai County for this race because of the COVID restrictions, we pretty much had to do that in order to get approval. And it wasn't even guaranteed with that. So we figured better no crew than no race. But, I wanted to provide, really the whole reason is I wanted to provide a way for people to follow the race because they couldn't crew. So I guess, we could have just set up some webcams or something at aid stations, but we wanted to try and step it up and do something different. And we were able to figure out how to get all of these different camera sources into the live feed, into the live stream. And so we just basically got as many. I tried to build a team. I had get all the right equipment. So I was like buying a bunch of equipment. We were out testing. I think I tested the first drone flight on the course and the first camera, like phone shot on the course Sunday evening before the race. So it really came together extremely quickly. This is not something we were planning for months on end. I mean, I think I actually decided I was going to do the live stream Monday, a week and a half out. So from there, I went full speed ahead. I was texting and calling people I knew who could fly drones well, putting it together. We got that. We've been kind of touting it. We have really been touting this on here for like a long time, right? Like we're like, oh, we're going to do this, but it was only half serious. I hadn't even put together like the volunteer page. Finally did that. I think we had 4 people sign up. It was like, great. We can have a couple cameras out there. And then it just kind of started ballooning up. We started getting more people coming out of the woodwork that wanted to help, more drone operators, more camera people. And then I was working with Rob, who works with us at Aravaipa now, and our marketing director. And him and I basically spent an entire night. I think it might have been, I forget when it was. Monday. I don't even remember. It might have been after our podcast. No, that would have been it. Was it Wednesday night? Maybe it might have been like Wednesday.
Probably.
It was probably Wednesday.
Yeah.
So Wednesday.
I think that's when I got the email. So yeah.
Wednesday night, we basically wrote the plan out. So we went aid station by aid station, camera operator by camera operator. We used the spreadsheet that you made, Schuyler, for the historical men's and women's times. So, and we just went all the way down. We said each person, where are they going to be? What are they filming with? And like, when do they need to leave to go to the next location? How many locations are they going to go to? And just like, all right, email it out. And here's the instructions on how to make it work. Who has equipment? Who has your own phone and gimbal? Who doesn't? Okay, we're going to get more gimbals. I think I own like 8 or 9 phone gimbals now. So maybe we'll do more of these, hopefully and it was, I feel like we got a bit lucky maybe with just the right amount of pockets of phone service on the course, just the right amount of volunteers. At times there was like so many incoming feeds. It was pretty insane. But then other times we were like looking it up at the board and I was like, I got 2 shots right now. Okay, we got to hopefully we don't go down to 0. But we never did. I think we always had something. Like we always had an eye on the course at all times. Rob was great because he also did all of the pre-race interviews with all the athletes. That was all done race week. So it was all pretty timely stuff. We made the flyovers were made by Anthony on our team, the Google Earth flyovers. And he also put together all of the edits from last year that we played throughout to kind of give everyone a sense of that part of the trail with like better camera technology and, GoPros and slow-mo and stuff like that. yeah, that's kind of the behind the scenes. And then I had to like bring all the equipment down. We set up our studio downstairs at Aravaipa office just to give ourselves like a ton of space.
Mm-hmm.
We even had our little like acrylic divider. I'm pretty stoked on that. Louis, shout out to Louis. He made that for us off our laser machine. So it was just this huge, I mean, I really think this was like the ultimate crowdsourced live feed. Like this was not done by a professional production company. This was done by, a couple of us with the idea, some equipment. Obviously, like quite a bit of equipment was involved, but this is stuff that I've been investing in over the years. So we had a fair bit of it, but we did put quite a bit into this to make it as good as we could, and lots of mobile hotspots and stuff like that, batteries, tons of drone batteries. Fortunately, 2 of my drone operators had their own drones they brought. So yeah, that's a little bit, I don't know what else, what did I miss in all that?
No, I mean, I was pretty thorough. I think in terms of us in the studio, the way it basically went down is we didn't have a third party producer. It was you. No, it was literally you like managing all of the feeds, like when they would drop into the live stream. So it was like creating the new screens, making sure the graphics were correct, like having to unmute those prepackaged clips, which is always entertaining. Remembering to mute our microphones, which occasionally I guess you did not do, and that's why everybody got my ASMR snacking at one point. Which, whatever, take what you will from that. And then we just had like 2 big TVs in front of us, one that had all of the raw feeds as they were coming in, and then one that had the live YouTube stream, which is also delayed from the live feeds. And so like I found myself getting caught up like looking at the YouTube.
You're like commenting on the YouTube, and then it's like,
because it's directly in front of me, but it's also, I don't know, like 8 seconds behind what's actually happening on course. And so I'm like, right, I got to get over here. And then like you're playing on, on the software to make everything pop up live. There's an element of like you being able to read the chat, because there was a little bit of crowdsource information coming in there in terms of either crew members who were in the chat while they were waiting for their runner, just like giving updates and whatnot. And then on my side, I had all the research. So I had a 6-tab spreadsheet that had historical splits from men's and women's runners of like different varieties. I had the all-time lists because the ones on Ultra Sign Up are no good because the course had been rerouted a couple of times. And so I had to go like manage that component. And then I had all of the bios that I had crafted on key runners, which was like 38 different women and 70 different men. That was like Ultra Sign Up history, race history, links to their Strava, links to Instagram, like as much information as we could get publicly available from folks. Easier for some than others. Some people who are racing were just straight up ghosts, and I'm like, if they pop up into the top 2, I'm gonna have nothing to say here. But it was like a pretty extensive sheet. I had some like deep cut like college PRs on people. Like it was, I put in some work on that sheet. So we were going to have to fill a lot of time. I wanted to make sure that there was as little dead air as possible. So like that's what we were doing when we were looking off to the sides.
I think I was permanent. I have like
trying to manage
a prick in my neck now, just looking left the whole show. So but yeah, and
I literally just got more and more like I was just fading to the right as the live stream goes on. I'm just like more and more out of frame. I'm just like, my back is curling into this position.
And I don't know, like I think because of just all the coordination during the week, and of course, like there's still other stuff going on with Aravaipa, and we do this podcast every week, and the race itself is happening. So my team also needs me for other things too at times. So I think between all that, like I didn't even actually sit down to build all of the scenes I needed and make sure I had all of those assets that I just mentioned, like the athlete interviews and the flyovers and last year's footage, and like make sure it would actually flow and work until I probably started on that at like 11 p.m. before the stream went off. And then like whatever like the graphical box like that said Black Canyon and Hoka was all blue. Like I had the thing that I used for this show, you know, where it's like orange and it has the dots and it kind of moves and plays like a video. That was not working for this. So I had to remake it all at probably like 2 a.m. And, you know, we're supposed to go live at 6:30. And I was like, it was insane. I did not sleep. It was probably pretty evident of that, but we got it done. We got it live. And I would say overall, I thought it went pretty well. I didn't think there was really, it went way better than expected. That's for sure. I didn't really have any issues with like the feeds or camera angles. I mean, there was like some connectivity service issues, you know, like we had some blotchy just because it's so far out on the remote parts, but I was even surprised that we had that much to work with. So I thought it was great. I just have to thank everyone involved. It was pretty incredible. We're getting lots of kudos out there, which is really, really awesome to see. Even in here, I'll just read a comment. There was a shout out apparently from Mario Fraioli in his weekly newsletter. Hats off to Jamil Coury and team on what was hands down the best live coverage of a trail ultra in the United States that I've ever seen. Pretty cool to hear that. That makes all of it worth it, in my opinion, to provide something in some, you know, somewhat groundbreaking here. And I think hopefully we just improve from here and can make more compelling live storytelling. It's fun.
Yeah. Like I was talking to folks after the fact, you know, and there's been this sort of consistent thread that when like we do out of Steep Life race recap videos, like they're usually pretty compelling. It's very action oriented, but to see that live as it was happening was a completely different beast. Like we could pretty much chop and screw the live stream, just like rip out the raw video and repackage that as one of the finished videos, and it would have been the exact same quality. And so that speaks volumes to the team that was on the ground getting that work, especially for folks who don't do a lot of media or any media ever, in terms of like race coverage. Like have, you know, folks at the aid stations doing like tracking shots as folks were leaving, and it's just like it's that sort of thing that makes you feel as a viewer that you're like in it with the runner. But like we didn't tell them to do that necessarily. It was just like, hey, like you're on an island, like figure out what makes the most sense, and those volunteers crushed it.
Then one of my things in my email was like, just, you know, give us as many good shots as you can. I think I said something to that effect. It's like, you're out there, you have the device, just, you know, whatever interesting thing you can give us that looks great, just do that and rinse and repeat. Yeah.
Yeah. It was clutch that we sporadically, I never knew when this was working, and when it wasn't, but a lot of the folks that were on course could hear our commentary from the studio. And so if it was like, hey, you know, like I wish I knew who that bib number was, like they would kind of make moves to like help us with that. And occasionally they would be able to talk back to us in a way that could not be heard on the live broadcast. But it was very unclear, at least to me in the studio, like what of that was live and what of that was just in our head.
Yeah. I'm in
our headset.
I'm still very amateur at the program we used, which is, it's funny. It shows us how much room for growth there is and refinement. I mean, I think a year from now when we do Black Canyon again, it's going to be a whole nother level. It's going to be great.
No, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Like I can't even imagine
I'm just
now,
glad
but I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited for it. And hopefully Black Canyon won't be the next time we do this. Like I hope we do it before then, for sure.
Yeah, no, people have definitely like slid into my DMs and been like, when's the next one? Be it insert race here. And it's just like, listen, it's not in my control.
Sure.
I was just happy to be a part of this one.
Yeah,
So,
good time.
so yeah, no, it was a raging time. And we got to shout out everyone who was in the chat and participating and giving us energy all day. We had no idea how many people would enjoy this. It's always like amorphous how many people enjoy ultra running to begin with and like how large this community is. But to see like how many viewers were in there live, especially towards the finish, and how many people were just like, I'm watching this with my kid who's like, a high school cross country runner, and like this is their first exposure to ultras. I mean, you have like folks who are like, I just like stumbled upon this. I had no idea that like this sort of sport was a thing. Like to have that be, to have this live stream be a vehicle for folks to enter the scene and communicate with each other, because we had a lot of big hitters in the ultra running scene also in that chat. It was nice to see, and it was another way to like get reward from this event. So
yeah, I think this was like the
kudos.
perfect one to kick this kind of a thing off too. Black Canyon is first just such an epic course. I mean, it's a classic. It's one of the best out there. And then to have such a stacked field, I think, especially just due to COVID, I think it concentrated so many fast guys and gals. And then, just the story around the golden tickets is obviously super interesting. So I think it all came together pretty well. The only thing I wish we could have planned for was to keep at least something like we had to tap out at that like fifth woman-ish in. It's like, first off, Schuyler, you came down anniversary weekend for you. So thank you for that. You had to definitely tap out, and I was just completely tapped. I did not even make it out of that room that night. I passed out on the couch right behind the TVs. But we kept the feed going, and it was interesting because there was still like 100 people there, like through most of the night. It would have been fun to have at least someone to like talk or provide just commentary in the chat room, and maybe someone at the finish line, just getting views of people coming in and maybe a little bit of their story or something that was out on the trail. But definitely something to look forward to next time. Even if it's not like at night, it's harder to get. You can't do drone shots at night. Like you can't. You're gonna. You can follow people, but it's like, okay, it's like a runner and then black. Like, but I think that's where even just storytelling, the finish line, like that's a story right there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, it was so the thing we also didn't talk about much, and why I got called out for snacking. We didn't have breakfast. Like I literally showed up with like a traveler case of coffee, and like that was all we had.
We didn't really have food the whole time, and barely water. I don't think I even drank water. Like I can't. I had a couple LaCroix. I think
I think you did bring one over.
I think I brought one for you and me, and I drank mine, and then you didn't even drink yours.
No,
and that was about.
I had a full like Sunny D that I drank, and then like I don't even know how many cups of coffee.
No, that was it. It was just caffeine the whole day.
Kill the traveler.
I had an energy drink and just coffee after coffee after coffee after coffee.
Yeah, my body was not pleased afterwards. Like I got home, I was like, all right, cool. We got to go to dinner now. And I was like, I don't feel right. Like I've had no sustainable calories, and everything I have had is caffeine and acid.
The next one we planned out way more in advance, and we will
going to get a charcuterie board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we used to have like a catering spread. It'd be great. Maybe, another host to give a little relief here and there, a little break time. Someone to run the video switcher board would be excellent. We're already talking about that, and that's going to be an amazing, position for us to have on board. So, it'll be great. But the first one, you just got to power through it, and it's good times.
Yeah, and we got to shout out, speaking of folks who are like assisting by saying things, Rob Ricardo, Chris Warden, I think even Jenny hopped on for a bit just from the course. And so having them either giving commentary of what was happening that they could see from their aid stations or doing those pickup interviews was clutch. So, because getting Craig Hunt as he had come back to Table Mesa, and he's like, it was good till it wasn't. Like, that was the quote of the day. It was just like, that is correct, sir. Like, it was twice during this race that we had the leader drop out. So I think he pretty much captured that sentiment in one succinct soundbite. So shout out to him. I'm excited to see what he does at this distance, because I mean, trying to come back after Carbon X2 and the person who ran with Jim for the longest period of time at Carbon X2, and then he's like 3 weeks later, let me go run this trail 100K as well. That was insane. It was a bold strategy, Cotton. So shout out to him. He'll be one to watch for sure.
Awesome. We got lots of stuff in the chat room. We will get to all of that. So if you have questions about the live stream, comments about the live stream, or anything else, please drop them in there. We did have a question. What would you like to change or do differently in the future for a live stream? It was amazing. Thanks. Gave me full-on FOMO this year. Well, we talked a little bit about on the back end. I think just something to make us a little bit healthier in the lead up and on race day of this experience would be great. But yeah, Schuyler, what do you think? What do you think, like maybe out on the course, or some things that might, or other things to incorporate? We did see a comment about a map or like live tracking on there. I'll start with that.
Yeah. I think one of the things that kept coming up, and people were like, how long are they running? But like the clock on the screen would have been pretty pointless because of the wave start. But if we go back to like a mass start situation, then like something like that is helpful. Any sort of 3D map, or just like, even if it's just like a stock image of like, this is the course, and like, the men have cleared this point, women have cleared this point, and like we just update that every little bit. Might be like those little things, so that when people show up halfway through, they don't ask the same questions every 12 minutes.
We should just put
like, where's Jim?
A rolling banner, Jim DNS at the
Jim
top.
Jim Walmsley is not here. Yes.
Please turn off now.
Yeah. So like things like that. Things that would make us more sustainable or go a long way. And then I think just like from the research side, as the person who's like running point on that, like being able to dig more into, like I had a lot of running based information on folks, but a lot of what draws folks in and to get them to appreciate specific athletes is beyond their running accolades. Like I'm pretty sure in the whole thing, like I just like didn't mention anything about like how many of them are coaching athletes. Like Tyler Green feels like every damn athlete he coaches was in the chat, and like I just like completely whiffed on like here's what he does like as a day job, like all those sorts of things. And so just trying to actually personify these folks, I think I could have done a better job on that. So I got to work on how I capture that for future editions. But yeah, I think that's my takeaway.
Yeah, I think for me, it would be either more testing to know where the good service locations are so that we can get the best quality footage, or improving our equipment so that we can get, better cell signal or better range for the aerial shots. There were times when it started to cut out if it gets out of range, but I think there's solutions for both of those. We just didn't have enough time to pull it together. Shout out to Airfiber. A local company here in Anthem. They provided basically internet you would get at your home or business with high speed upload to our finish line. So we were able to provide that stream without it, even cutting into our mobile data, which was extremely grateful for that. So got to just shout those guys out again. If you're in Anthem area, check them out. I think they're expanding to Cave Creek next. So hopefully we can work with them again next year, or even at events that are held in Cave Creek Park in the future. So those would be my couple things.
For sure. And let's just say it up front before somebody tries to dunk us in the chat. Yeah, there would also be live runner tracking the entire time. There was a whole system issue that was not relevant to us.
We can talk about that.
Do you want to get into this?
Just a
lot of people.
Yeah. Okay. So
a lot of people were like, go for it.
It's embarrassing. It's extremely embarrassing for me because we've gone through the ups and downs of timing and over the years, and yeah, we do in-house timing, and the reliability of it as far as we have all the data. That was never an issue, but it's like getting it out into the world consistently all the time. I mean, it is a challenging thing sometimes. So there was a new update that was pushed out to our software within the last week and a half. Part of that was my brother, and he actually had to take a phone call regarding this while he was running the race and do some IT support. So I would say, I think he felt the pain of that, and was like, maybe I won't do that the week of Black Canyon next time before it gets like maybe a smaller race to test at or some sort of official testing. So we do apologize for that. I believe it's all good now. Like you can go look at all the data and see like every split time if you want to see how everyone stacked up and made their way through the course. And if you have suggestions for our timing, for our websites and stuff like that, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear your ideas or things you feel like it's lacking, because we're constantly wanting to improve. So appreciate that. Jacqueline Avery says, sounds like you need a production assistant to help with things like additional research on the day of. I mean, pretty much.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure people just got like a lot of me clicking because it was like everything was tabbed out in the spreadsheet. I had like links built in and everything. But
I'm curious how much.
Trust me, if somebody would have.
I'm curious how much of my keyboard clicking made it into the stream, because I had that like mechanical keyboard. It was like clickety clackety. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of my mouse.
Yeah,
it was those clicks definitely came in.
I think,
which at least people knew we were live, so that's good.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to get. From what Rob was telling me, we need to get better mics, like ones that are more directional. So you're only picking up that, instead the ones we had, I guess, like pick up everything. So who knew? Whoopsies.
We're learning. See, This is a continuous feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly. We keep it real on this podcast. We tell you all the good, the bad, the ugly here. We're not afraid to talk about it. So it's real and raw. What else do we got? Oh, we have some stuff here. Bill Hart Davison, he has a few comments. Agreed, this event felt like a watershed in terms of coverage. A few thoughts. Number one, the first person POV switching is going to get copied. No question. Let's hope so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two,
if it advances the sport, go on.
Two, I can see a new event registration category, even media, as in I'm running, providing coverage would add more POV options besides the volunteers. Like they would run the race, but also provide coverage. Like they're like participating in the event. Do you get like a discount? Like maybe you get a discount if you, I don't know. Interesting.
Again, that's all your brother's fault for trying to live stream while running.
Well, yeah, like if you didn't catch that, Nick did call in. We thought it would just be hilarious, and a lot of people caught it. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. He tried to do it on one of his favorite sections, and that, of course, is the section with no service, so he cut out right away. Yeah. Nancy Hobbs, from 1 to 10, an 11. You two set the bar. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Oh, and I saw you an email. My bad.
And Bill Hart Davidson says, 3, when you can also integrate the Map Live tracker view with the in-studio, boom, no going back for big events. All right. And that's what we were kind of just touching on. Yeah, and the other thing that would probably be good is, when we switch to a certain angle, like let's say it's the women running, if it said, like near Gloriana Mine, mile 25, I don't know how possible that is or how quickly, I guess that's that production assistant potentially, like they're constantly monitoring and they can insert that information in on the fly as it's happening. Yeah. Someone who's like really in tune with what's going on. You're not using Cardoid mics. The ones we had for the event, I forget which ones they are, but I believe it was the wrong kind. So
I think we can agree on that. That's fine.
it. What's that?
I think we can agree on that part. Yeah. But listen, hey, balling on a budget.
Which audio? Yeah. All right. That's great. That's a lot of the feedback in the chat. There is some other chat questions, but do we have what else do we want to touch on in terms of the live stream? Are we about wrapped up on that?
I mean, I think we're good there. Again, just like a huge appreciation to all sides of the coin. The folks that were out there on the ground, the runners that were willing to give like spot interviews, and even the folks who dropped who were able to hop in and just like at least talk to our folks on the ground who could then relay information to us so we can relay it to you. Everybody who was in the chat and participating, everyone who showed us love during and after, like you all have been great. So thank you. Thank you, Jamil, for allowing me to sit 7.5 feet away from you with a plexiglass divider between us. It was nice to spend time with you in person because we don't get to do that now.
For sure.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for the next time.
And like right back at you. Thanks for taking 11 hours out of your day to do that as well. That was great.
It was fun. It was entertaining.
What do we got? We got people talking about Frozen Head, but what do you got first?
I got run flat news.
Do it.
I can just hammer through real quick, and then we'll get to the grind. A bunch of races, both indoors and outdoors, this week in the track world. You probably saw the Valley of the Sun 3K was a big event that happened this week. There's like streams of it on the internet. You can find it. Catching up on some stuff from last week, we talked about Colleen Quigley, the perennial favorite to make the Olympic team in the steeplechase on the women's side. She had left Bowerman Track Club. Suddenly, my guess was that she was going to end up with either solo or with Team Boss. Turns out that she has gone solo, linking back up with her coach that she had in college when she was at Florida State, Josh Seitz. He's now an assistant at Portland State, so she doesn't even have to leave the Portland area, linking up with her old coach, about to crush it. Will be interesting to see what that does to that women's steeple field as we get to the Olympic trials this June. On the indoor front, we also had the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix, just a ridiculous meet. We saw so many American records drop. Ellie Purrier broke the 2 mile 2 mile American record. Last year, she set the mile record. This year, she's like, let's just double that up, and I'm gonna take this one too. So she runs 9:10:28, takes off like 7 or 8 seconds, I think, off of Jenny Simpson's old American record. So just like absolutely slaughters it. Emma Coburn took second, also a woman, to watch in the steeplechase as the defending national champion, like twice or 3 times over. So that was a crazy event. You can watch that, I think, online on either on YouTube or like Runner Space or something. Jonathan Brazier comes back in the 800, runs 1:44:21, taking 0.01 seconds off of his American record in just dominating fashion. So he's in great shape, getting ready to defend American pride at the Olympic trials and then the games. And then Bryce Hopple, who we talked about, I think, last week, having run the second best time ever by an American in the 800, just behind Donovan. He runs the 1K, takes out the late David Torrance's 1K American record by like 3/4 of a second, runs 2:16:27 for 1,000 meters, which is ridiculous. So he's clearly in good shape. So that was awesome. In the 1500, we had Ollie Hoare, one of the On Athletic Club runners, I believe. So big showing for that athletic group in their first ever track cycle. He runs 3:32, but the story was Mr. Tanner setting the NCAA 1500 record in 3:34:72. Not to be outdone, down in Arkansas, the kids from Oregon, they basically time trialed. It was a race that had 5 Oregon kids in it. 2 of them were pacers. They drop out, 3 remain. Cooper Tier, Cole Hawker, Charlie Hunter, two of them drop under the old collegiate mile record. So Cooper Tier runs 350.39, and then Cole Hawker runs 350.55. So they just obliterated Edward Cheserek's old record. I think it's something like 5 or 6 of the top 10 mile times in college had been run by Oregon athletes. Ches had run 352.01, so they take more than a second off of that. Charlie Hunter ends up taking third in 353.49. So these dudes, if they want, are just going to like show up and win NCAA nationals with just their distance contingent. Like, it's absurd. So that happened in the track world. Get excited because that's some ridiculous young talent. I'm wondering if we're going to see a couple of them in a couple of weeks at the Texas qualifier. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure we'll do a little bit of preview next week. And then two last things. One, I don't know if I sent this to you, but there was some jumper beef in the track world. Marquise.
Oh yeah, you sent me something.
Did I send it to you? Okay.
Yeah, you're like, this whole thing is amazing. And then I was like, down this like insane rabbit hole. I was like, what am I watching?
Yep. So Marquise Dindy, who is like the defending like triple jump champ for the United States, basically he's like, I'm coming to the American Track League race series, bring all the smoke. Like, he was just telling all of his competitors, like put up or shut up, like be here at this meet, take me head on. Fabian Edelke, I think is how you say it, this like FSU kid, starts talking trash on Instagram and Twitter, and they're just going back and forth. And so Marquise had this like, it's one of those Instagram stories that like when it shows up on your feed, you're like, this is way too long, I'm going to click through. But like when you watched it, it was comedy. Like, he was like showing clips of the college kid like walking outside of his dorm, like talking all this trash. And then like another clip, like a different clip of him talking trash again. He's like, why'd this dude leave his dorm to record another trash? Like, why is he always walking, leaving his dorm? He was just dunking on him. And then people were trying to say that Marquise is like injury prone. So then he went on this whole like motivational kick and basically told everybody to like, you know,
that was my favorite part
thing.
when he was like getting all fired up and like motivational. I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So good. He's
like, you know, they try to put you out to pasture. You just keep showing up and like all this. And the best part, I forget exactly how it finished, but it was one of those things where like, you think he's going to end on this high note and he's just like, and if you got a problem with it, it's like, F you, come see, like, he just like hit it so hard. And I was like, I am here for this so much. I was talking to Debo about it, and he was like, we need more of this in ultra running. And I was like, I just need some brash people to qualify for Western States. And we're just going to get like 2 or 3 weeks of trash talking between them. It would just be really, really fun. That would make live streaming that race real hilarious, because it'd be like, and let's just go to the Twitter logs and just like watch them dunking. So that's great. And then speaking of Twitter logs and dunking on people, the last thing, because people wanted us to talk about it to some degree, we had this whole blow up on Instagram with Jason Koop versus the entire low carb community, apparently. I guess somebody went on Koop's Strava and was like, go listen to these things, you uncultured swine. And Koop was like, yeah, no. But then in saying that and like screen capping it and putting it on Instagram, he like tagged like Zach Bitter and like some folks who've been on Bitter's podcast.
He tagged them. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so he like legit tagged them.
For sure.
Yeah. And then things in the comments got wild. So I don't have a lot to say on it. Like, it's kind of a weird nuance.
The scoop.
I'll refer people to Koop's Instagram if they want to see all the exchanges, because they're not even like all threaded comments. You got to like go in different comment threads to see like when they were coming and clapping back at each other. But it was just like, we really have nothing better to do that like we're just gonna talk trash about diets. When we're talking trash about like the actual like towing the line and making things happen, like that's one thing. But when we're just like, let's just complain about somebody's dietary choices and like how we would do it differently, it's like, I don't know. There's at least something to be desired. Like people, we should not be opinionated just for the sake of being opinionated. Oh, trust me.
This was part of my race fuel for today, so you can see what side of the fence I'm on.
And this is
I didn't get any.
what I'm working on currently.
I'm trying to hydrate because my water bottles were frozen all day and I couldn't get water out of them.
Yeah, you should probably prioritize your health. I will give you a pass on this week's episode, but yeah, I would just refer people to it. It was a lot less compelling than the Marquise versus Fabian drama. I'll put it that way. But people were like, talk about this, and so this is
a step. We got a little bit of drama. We probably need more, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, honestly, this kind of talk, like, this goes back to the jumpers drama, because like ultra drama is like, let's talk about like whether you should hydrate when you're thirsty or a specific ounce amount each hour, and like let's talk about low carb versus low fat. Like that's what we beef about, and these other dudes are like, come see me, I'll fight you in the parking lot and I'll beat you in the pit. Like we gotta do so much better in terms of ultra trash talking.
Yeah, that's way better.
Like it's just like, if we're gonna bring drama, let's bring like good drama. I don't want to bring drama that leads to like having to read
like scientific studies.
Yeah, I don't want to read a research report to be like, well, you know, like these millimoles. That's not compelling. That's not a good argument. Like, and if you were in a debate club and you stood up there and you're like, well, citing this, you lost. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I went to a high school where like people actually like went on full battles with each other, and like there was a lot of capping on folks that like you had to be quick with it.
I mean, real quick, if I did touch on it, like, I mean, we've got Coop versus Bitter. I mean, these are both coaches, right? Bitter coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And and then like they both are incredible athletes. Coop has done a lot of incredible runs, clearly. Bitter is our 100-mile world record holder, so like to say he doesn't know what he's talking about at all, or that his diet doesn't work for him, it's like, well, like what more does he need to do to prove that it works for him? That's maybe the only thing I would say about that. Let's take it to the track.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, like, to square up some of your athletes and be like, we're going to take this like 7v7 cross country style, like choose a distance. If you want to see like, all right, let's just take 6 months, prepare our athletes for this, and like whatever, improve, like whatever team wins. Like do something like that. Like, or they can toe the line against each other. I don't know exactly what the middle ground between their two specialties would be, but like Javelina probably. Like, let's just see how that rolls, and then put up or shut up. Listen, I'm not trying to stir the pot. I'm just saying, if you're going to put water in the pot, let's actually make sure it boils. That's it.
All right.
That's it. That's all I'm saying. Cool. That's it. That's all I got. Let's go to the chat. Let's see what questions people have. If you haven't submitted a question, you got things. Just drop them in.
Let's do a little Q&A here. We got maybe 20 minutes left. We try and keep these to under an hour and a half, usually. Some weeks we like get right on like 124 and some change, which is hilarious. Just happens to be that way. I don't usually watch the clock that close, but some people were talking about Frozen Head a bit. Maybe we should talk about that.
Okay.
A little bit more. Did we already kind of talked about that, but it was cold today. It was freaking cold. It was snowing when I looked out the window this morning when I woke up. It's snowing out. I'm from the desert, so it always is interesting. I overlayered, of course, and then I had to strip down and just tie my jacket around my waist all day, like my really heavy one. But yeah, water bottles are frozen. When I finished my run at 4:30 p.m. in the back down at the parking lot, which is the lowest point of the run, it was 22 degrees when I was driving out of there. So up high on the mountains probably in the middle of the morning, it was probably in the single digits, and ran a big loop in the park, and I'm going to do it again tomorrow. I think there's probably going to be rain, snow later this week and more cold temperatures. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's good Barkley training, I think. I could have done without it being this cold, most likely. But, you know, it will make
Mental
race
toughness.
day hopefully look better. That's the hope. That's the goal.
What you mentioned that your feet got frozen, which I don't think would have been affected by a change of shoes. But what footwear are you going with in these conditions? And are you putting on like crampons?
Today I had the Solomon Ultra Pro, which is my favorite shoe, of course. I did have some of the newer Catula. They're not the micro spikes. They're the ones that are meant for, I think, icy roads. They just have a little lug on them. But I didn't need to use them. I did have poles with me, though. So, question from Jacqueline Avery. Did you see any other runners in the park today? Well, I started with Maggie Gooderl, and she did a couple hours and then had to go work. And other than that, I saw nobody. I saw some footprints, but I never saw people. Okay.
Bigfoot. Cool.
Chad New says, still very curious about the bandwidth setup for Black Canyon coverage. Chad, what exactly is your question regarding that? The finish line, like I said, was set up by that company, but everything else on the course was done basically via mobile data. Everything incoming was mobile cell phone data. I don't know that we actually got any Wi-Fi from anywhere else. I don't believe so. So, how did you get internet to the start finish? Yeah, mobile data. No worries. Yeah, he says he came in a little bit late. So, yep. Schuyler, from a public health perspective, should we wait for the single dose or get whatever vaccine is available? Are there benefits one over the other?
Get whatever's available. Yeah. Honestly, it doesn't. There are operational considerations where like one dose is easier than two. Like do it one and you're good to go. So like completely get that, especially in far-flung communities or harder to reach communities where, knowing what you're going to be doing in 21 or 28 days is a little bit more difficult. Unpredictable schedules, childcare, things like that. Totally get it. For the just like the median person, whatever's available, you should take it. With the mRNA vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, 94% efficacy rate after the second dose. I guess 14 days after the booster shot. That's unheard of, and that's for, any illness whatsoever. It's not just like, like the chances I end up like in the hospital. No, it's like 94% period that you have any like symptomatic issue. So, and the fact that Pfizer just came out with that study from Israel, I think today, that was then replicated in the population, not just in the clinical trials, like speaks wonders to how good these vaccines are. So if given the opportunity, get a vaccine. Obviously, if you have other considerations, you have a history of anaphylactic shock or being allergic to any of the ingredients in there, they don't have egg. I should put that out there. The mRNA ones do not have egg. So I know that's a big one for folks. But if you have a history of allergy, anaphylactic shock, or if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, talk to your doctor about those specific elements. More research is being done on those specific populations to make sure that folks are taking the vaccine who should and who are capable without having an adverse reaction. But we're looking at 99. I want to make sure I get this right. I think it's 99.9999955% of people who've gotten the vaccine thus far have had no serious adverse reaction.
There you have it.
So
there you have it.
Given the chance, get it.
Alan Stark asks, microspikes allowed for Barkley? I believe they are, but usually by then you don't need them that time of year. Alan Stark, I saw another IG post about being stuck in a Tennessee airport. Can you share anyone else training at the same time? I don't know of anyone else. Nathan Budziak. Oh, this is a good one. We didn't touch on this
Oh,
yet.
Nasty Nate. What's up?
Lake Sonoma 100 and Broken Arrow moved to the fall. How does this impact golden tickets? Thoughts on further races being postponed? Well, it doesn't impact golden tickets because that's the only golden tickets left to give out are from Canyons 100. Canyons, right? Canyons 100K?
Wait, is Lake Sonoma not a
No.
golden ticket race this year?
The 100K is brand new, so I'm pretty sure it's not. Go look it up.
But the 50 should still be, because the 50 also got postponed. The 50 miler.
Yeah,
so if that was a golden ticket race,
I don't think it is. I think
right
it
now?
got booted because it's a 50 miler. I think they finally relented. That's why they created the 100K, I believe. To, I think, try for next year to turn it into a golden ticket race. Because it didn't make sense to have a golden ticket race at a 50 miler when you can't even qualify for Western States using that race. It was a leftover from before. Does that make sense? Following? Maybe? Is that confused?
Yeah, no, I'm tracking. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, Lake Sonoma is not a golden ticket race this year. It is just Canyons.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Because they gave us. We shouldn't have been a golden ticket race this year for Black Canyon.
Because you had the rollover.
Because we had a rollover, but I think due to GDR and Lake Sonoma, they gave it to Bandera and us again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little history for y'all.
Yeah,
and
so
Rob,
the Canyons is the last. Yes, the last and only one remaining for this upcoming season. Yeah, so it's still it'll still be 10 golden ticket winners to.
Yeah, all those. Well, I guess we'll see if Canyons happens. We'll see if States happens. And then.
Yeah, it was an interesting decision by Lake Sonoma. I'm intrigued. I'd be interested to hear what the conversation was with.
Do you think it could have happened?
County Public Health. I mean, based on. So in California, most of the restrictions are based on like the color tier of that county.
Oh yeah.
Purple is like the widespread COVID situation, but it's still allowing sports practices to occur and certain competitions. And so you would think that based on the falling case rates and positivity rate, that by April, the projections would be such that you could host some form of these races.
Well, that's basically what we're hoping for Cocodona, because we need Coconino to fall to moderate. And there's 3 metrics they follow. And the first one fell to moderate this last week. And the second one is like right there. I think it'll fall to moderate this week or next. And then we're probably another few weeks out from the third metric. Like a month ago, it was like not even close. And now it's like we're most like halfway there right now. So. Yeah.
Which is sort of true nationwide. We've seen this decline in positivity rates and cases, which is good. Like that's obviously what we want to see.
Sure.
And what coming with that is testing. So we got to make sure that we're still actively testing the population. We don't want people to get lackadaisical, and then the spread is still there. It's just unrecognized, because that would be not good, especially with variants and whatnot. So here's hoping. But yeah, I mean, Canyons in my if I was just a betting man, not officially in my like work capacity, like I gotta think that based on current trends, like in 2 months' time, your bigger issue is capacity limits and like what they'll allow, but the race itself should be able to.
Well, it's like capacity, and then how adaptable is the organization too. Because I'll tell you, it was not an easy feat for us to pull off Black Canyon in basically less than 2 weeks' time. Like the day I started planning for that live stream was the day we fully knew we could hold the normal course, and it was a beast to get this thing going, and turning a normally 20-hour event into a 36-hour event. It's a lot of extra work, a lot of extra money in order to make that happen, and a lot less people than normal. So I mean, I get it. There's real constraints out there for different events, and some can't wait until 2 weeks prior to make the call and pull off a safe event. So,
yep.
Highland Running Club. Have we heard of any outbreaks at any ultra events? No.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
No.
I haven't. And I've heard of, I don't know if you've heard this, Schuyler, but just outdoor transmission in general is low.
It's significantly less risky than indoor. Yeah, for sure.
I guess it still depends on your group size and your concentration of people, but and then the touch points are obviously important too. So you just got to have a good plan for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. You don't want to be, in a rugby scrum with a bunch of people. That sort of situation, especially long-term, is going to be not good. But for the most part, just the way that races work, things should be okay. And by runners taking the precautions, not digging into any of the stuff at the aid station, wearing their masks when they're around the volunteers at those aid stations, and if they're passing people, it's just small sacrifices to be able to get back to the basic joys that we love.
Cool. I'm ready to wind it down. I'm tired. I need some sleep. I think you do as well.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for tuning in this week. We did it. Another week down. Feeling good about that. I'll be back home next week. We'll do a couple more questions here. Did we find out why Sandy dropped it? We always have to say we're shutting it down, and then all of a sudden it's brrr. Do we find out? Numbers is back. Hey, Numbers. We didn't see you did you see any comments of the live stream for Black Canyon?
There might have been some late.
It was a little tough to keep up. Did we find out why Sandy dropped at Black Canyon?
Not that I've seen.
She just posted something on her Instagram, I believe. I didn't read it yet. So check it out. Yep, I think that's it. My phone died, so I don't have the theme song to close it out. Numbers. They just realized that we now call them numbers.
Yeah, she did. We're gonna roll past it. Just posted on her Instagram. It's lengthy. I can't speed read it.
All right,
but
go.
I'm sure it looks motivational.
All about Sandy, because she had a whole video series leading up to Black Canyon. I'm sure there's going to be a post-race video recap from her. So go check out her YouTube channel, Running Wild. But yeah, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We got definitely more podcasts coming. Hopefully other content soon. More epicness. But yeah, we'll be back next week for another show. We'll probably be talking wrap up Barkley bootcamp. I'll give you my total numbers for my Tennessee trip in terms of miles and feet of climbing. I have a number in mind I want to hit, but the nastier the weather, we'll see if we hit it. I don't know.
Time out. Did you just quote George Clooney from Up in the Air?
Did I?
I have a number in mind. I haven't quite hit it yet. Okay, cool. Sweet.
Just,
Finally, Jamil is accidentally a pop culture icon. He's finally come in. So appreciate you, sir.
That's funny.
Cool. And we'll talk about other things, Run Flat news. We got the Texas qualifier coming the following weekend. So we'll do a little preview of that so you can get hype on the Run Flat world. I guess I got to go do something in running or training so that I have something to also contribute to this. So maybe I'll go do a time trial. Nasty Nate, are you still in the chat? Let's go.
Perfect.
Let's go to the track. Let's get weird. So I think that's it. Let's make sure. Oh, hit that like button somewhere down here, and then tell a friend to tell a friend, and go back and check out that Black Canyon live feed, especially that Justin Grunewald kick down at 9 hours and whatever it was.
I think we're going to try and
20 some odd minutes
pull that out as its own video and post it up. I think that would be a good idea.
We should.
For sure.
We should, because Ben hasn't caught enough heat this week already. Let's go ahead and give a nice
we should like
tight
get
clip.
a picture of him crying and like dejected and then put it as the thumbnail. Or like getting dunked on or something.
Yeah. That's when I should have used the "and boom goes the dynamite." Like I should have thrown it there, but we were so blown away by what happened.
Oh, we need like a soundboard for the next live stream. Like you need to be able to hit a button and like an air horn plays.
It's only going to be like NBA Jam catchphrases and like Mario Kart 64. It's like Mamma Mia! Like it's gonna be
this has to happen. It's gonna be great.
All right. That's where we're at. So we're gonna get to work on that.
Yeah.
You guys hit that like button over there. You hit the subscribe button, and tell a friend to tell a friend. We will be back next week on Tuesday night, so you can catch us live. If you're catching us later in podcast form, make sure you also hit that 5-star review and tell us where you're listening from, so we can give you some motivation as you walk or run through this world in whatever way you make that happen. That's it.
All right.
I'm Schuyler Hall, Skizzle Fresh. I'm out.
See you guys.
He's Jamil.